Memphis, 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 Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
Yo, what up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901. I'm your host, Daniel Greer. Tonight's show, it's packed. It's jam-packed. We're going to get you from top to the bottom. We're going to talk about what matters most. So Nate's going to join us there. He wants to ask a little bit of the questions that they talked a little bit about last week. I did not have a chance. I was on vacation, was on the show. So he wants to answer me or ask me some questions. And then we're going to get into a little bit of the NBA season preview. We're going to talk about the league in general, but then also we're going to hit on some Grizzlies stuff. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to hit on your Grizzlies matchup. Game 1 of 82. We're going to make sure we share a little bit of our knowledge on that. Listen, it's not going to be groundbreaking, but it's going to be fun. Before we get there, what up, what up, what up, what up?
What up, what up, what up? What up, what up? Dude, we're only a week away from basketball.
I clicked the not, don't loop. What is happening? I clicked the don't loop.
We're a week away from me having fun seeing you again. Like now it's just a chore, but in a week it's going to be actual NBA basketball. And I'll be like, oh, I get to see Daniel. That means Grizzlies are playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So one, thank you for wanting to see me. Today, not so much. So besides that,
Más o menos.
I'm excited.
Más o menos.
So, all right. So we have so much happening tonight. I want to make sure we go ahead and get into the show. I was a little bit late. I apologize. I don't know what in the world happened. So behind the scenes, I've been actually trying. I didn't know my login to our account because I haven't had to do it in ages. I had to log out today because I'm trying to go into somewhere else. And so anyway, long story short, I'm trying my best to get us ready for the season. So I've been actually in somewhere else working on getting us ready to go live for our first post-game show. So we have a lot to reveal. It will not look like this. I promise you that. And there'll be a lot of different looks and some bells and whistles that we're going to give out. And then also another thing that we're going to, I guess, explain on the debut show, the first post-game show in a sense. We'll give you a little bit of a teaser of we're going to do a giveaway. It won't be on that show, I don't believe, but we're going to do a giveaway throughout the season. And so we'll explain much more on the very first episode. So we expect the very first episode to be awesome, big. And so make sure you tune in. As soon as the game is over on the 25th, we're going to hit the go live button and join you, get your instant reactions a little bit. So hit up the comments, hit up the chat. But before we get there, we have to do this show. So Nate, you have some questions for me. So let's go ahead and see what you got.
Yeah, and it's nothing too crazy. And I actually do know you were listening for once when you weren't on the show last time because you were in the comment section. Speaking of which, one of the last comment sections, I talked about, 49ers being better than the Cowboys. Anyways, I think I may hit that on the head. Your shirt is fitting. Anyways, I don't want to take up too much. I just want to ask you the same question I asked Luke.
Okay.
What matters in the preseason? What doesn't matter in the preseason? And you can just hit on both while we're here. I'm not going to separate it. I just want to know from you and your perspective what you've seen that's going to carry over and be of impact and what you think is flash in the pan preseason.
What matters the most to me is some peace signs, some comments from our friend Chris. That actually does matter to me. The thing that does matter to me in the preseason is individual looks early in a game. I would say mid third quarter and beyond matters zero to me. Zero. Like there could not be anything less than preseason NFL football that matters less to me in sports in general. Like the whole game of the NFL means nothing to me in the preseason, like zero. And honestly, in the NBA, after the mid-third quarter, you might as well chalk it up. It's done. But looking at a lot of the players, what matters to me is the confidence. Okay. And so, like, for example, one of my favorite players in this past draft was Julian Strawther. And he came out of the Gonzaga. And he's a guy that I can see confidence in. And so I can also see that in Zaire, right? But what I can't see is the confidence in Roddy as much. Now, okay, I'm gonna kind of contradict myself. One matters because it is confident, right? The Zaire confidence is just oozing.
Mm-hmm.
Roddy isn't really showing the confidence as much. It's not oozing out of him. He still looks great. He still looks, still looks good. But that doesn't matter to me because just because you don't have the overconfidence, that doesn't matter as much. Play good, get your minutes in, get your reps in. That's fine. There's nothing bad, negative. But really the positive that I can get and what actually does is the confidence that you can get into a preseason game because those are big reps. And so that's what I guess I think in general. Yeah.
Well, and I think that matches up with everything Luke and I were saying. I mean, the Zaire stuff is the only thing that we were both like, man, this is what you hope for, right? Like he's got to prove it still in an actual NBA season. But right now, I don't know how you keep him off the court the way he's been playing.
Do you think he plays game one?
Zaire?
Yeah.
Plays or starts? What are you asking?
Plays.
Plays? Yeah, I think he plays game one.
You think he starts? This is phenomenal audio. Like the audio that I hear from you is just like so awesome. I can hear your brain thinking.
I could say, sorry, am I making a bunch of weird noises?
No, I'm just making fun of you.
Okay, sorry. I thought, well, every once in a while my audio does screw up, so I'm like, uh-oh.
See, Chris, I'm saying we gonna pause for a 30 sec. Do we need to play a commercial while you're thinking about this answer? Like I'm just asking questions that me and Chris are asking.
Dog, I don't think so. I think you're gonna see the Bane Kennard lineup out there. I think that's what they're gonna roll with in the beginning.
Okay.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough. Because you got another guy in there who's been really solid in Roddy. That playing those minutes are going to be interesting to see how they shake up. I'm going to say no, he doesn't start. Yes, he plays.
Okay, I like it. I thought he would start second or third game in the preseason, and the more I thought about it, I think I've drank since then, and I went on vacation. I did not think that he will start, and I kind of thought that might be Kennard because they could space it out a little bit. But then I thought, man, I just think that you need consistent shooting coming in. I think bringing somebody off the bench immediately, swapping out with Kennard. I think you can go with Kennard off the bench and keep him in that same rotation because when Ja comes back, Kennard's not going to start. So why get him out of that mode? I think you take the chance on one of these young guys, surround him with some vets. The first 25 games, it's just a small sample size. Nothing actually really matters. It doesn't matter if somebody starts. You could actually open up the treasure box and be like, oh, my God, this guy came out of a shell because he started, because he got a little confidence. And that could be Zaire. I don't know. Dude, I'm torn. I do think we'll find out a lot Friday in general. I think we'll find out the dress rehearsal, whatever, the quote unquote thing. I think we'll find out a lot then.
Well, in my mind, you go Smart, Bane, Kennard, Jaren, Steve-O, and you have a chance to just blitz teams like right out of the gate because you've got Marcus Smart, who is not known for being an offensive player, but is plenty capable offensively, right? He can hit shots. He can make things happen. You got Bane, who's obviously a scoring machine. Kennard, who's a flamethrower. Jaren, who has a lot of different ways to score, which is another thing I think the preseason's been awesome to show. He feels really comfortable scoring.
Yeah.
And you got Steve-O, who can clean up any of the misses that they do have. And so, and then on defensive end, you got Jaren, Smart, and Steve-O holding it down. Bane's actually a very capable defender. The only minus there is Kennard, who is going to be covered up by the other guys. And I think, honestly, showed to be a little bit better of a defender than we give him credit for last season. So You can blitz him right out of the gate, bring Zaire, Roddy, whoever in, sub it, stagger it, and then blitz him again out of the half, and then close with that lineup. And I think you could just kill teams doing that. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. I think there's a lot of weapons on this team.
No, I agree. I think there's a lot of ways you can go. We're going to get into a lot of Grizzlies talk. Let's go ahead and hit the NBA first in our first big segment of the night. We're going to hit on the NBA, a lot of the kind of the season, what we're kind of looking at. We don't want to give too heavy of predictions and put ourselves in a box. I want to give you some predictions, but we're going to preview a little bit of guys that we're interested in watching, I guess. And then we're going to get to the Grizzlies, pretty much the same kind of stuff. And then we'll get you the team preview for game 1. But let's go ahead and talk about the NBA rookies to watch. Okay, so I have my top 3. And I'm going to go ahead and give them first because I'm the host of the show and I can do what I want. So my first one's going to be Wemby. Number 2 is Scoot and Chet. Okay, Chet is still a rookie. I don't know if people remember that or not. And the reason for those 3, those are the most generic things ever. Because if you're interested in watching anybody else, I think you'd be lying. But Nate, is there anybody else that's not one of those 3?
So I have Wemby, Chet, and Scoot. No, the other one, I talked about him a lot, I feel like, on the show in preseason, is Keontae George.
Okay.
That dude, I'm telling you, it's one, he was a great college player at Baylor, right? But 2, I saw him in this preseason because, I go to the Salt Lake Summer League. I'm sorry, not preseason. I go to Salt Lake Summer League. And I was sitting next to some Jazz fans. And, dude, Keontae George was hands down the best player on the floor every time I watched him. And it was, the Jazz guy next to me goes, man, I don't know who's going to start for us at point guard. And I'm like,
that guy.
I do. Like, he's right there. And he's clearly the best player in Salt Lake Summer League. Like, he was unbelievable. And so I think, if you're looking for like a really long odds pick for rookie of the year, throw some money on that guy because he looked NBA ready to me on a team that is embracing a youth movement, but has guys around him that he can go and play make for. And you got a guard marking in. There's just a lot of promising things with that Jazz team. And I think he might be the most promising.
I think they need to go in on the young guys. Like, it's time. Like, either there needs to be some kind of developmental, like some kind of tanking. I think they've done enough. They're still going to be okay. I think they need to figure out enough to get down even more while still developing your players to where they're not losing. Because I think this year you can lose 28 games or win 28 games. I still think you're in the bottom 3. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of good potential with the NBA this year. I think there's going to be a lot of balancing out. All right, let's get to our next one. The rookie Grizz missed out on. I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Well, you can go ahead and go first because I really don't have anything. I was based off the Grizzlies position. I wasn't exactly amped for the draft. I got as excited as I could be. We had a really fun draft show, but to be honest, they were going to have to move back up to get whoever they were going to go try and someone you could quote unquote miss out on. And so I don't think it super applies. You got guys like Sensabaugh. I know you love Strother. I know Chris loves Strother. And then maybe, how do you say the Pods guy for Golden State? I don't even remember how to say his last name. But in general, the Grizz, I thought, took a big swing with their pick at GG Jackson, and that was about all you could ask for. So I don't really have anything.
Not upset with the GG pick at all. Obviously, he was in the 40s, 42, I believe. I don't remember. It's been so long ago. So you did mention the guy that I think the Grizzlies missed out on for the simple fact that I think that Julian Strother there at 29, which literally that was a little bit higher than people expected. Okay. So I don't want to go too crazy. Okay. And say like, oh my God, like we should have had him. Like we picked the wrong player. No, there was a Marcus Smart deal that let go of our 25th pick. Okay. If he's there, I still don't think the Grizzlies pick Julian Strother at 25. Now, do I think they should have? Yes. Do I think that they had a chance to move back into the draft to potentially grab him? Yes. I just think that it had to be in the 30s. I just 32, 35, somewhere in there. I think they would have possibly moved up in. But man, this player is going to be a really good NBA player. Okay. And I think that you can easily go, he's better than Jake LaRavia. I think he's better than Roddy, and I think he's better than Zaire. I really do. And I know that is very, very early on. I have convictions about him. I don't say those other guys aren't good. I just think that Julian Strawther is going to be that good of an NBA player. So that's just all I'm saying.
No, I'm with you. I mean, bold words throwing Mr. Roddy into that conversation. It's fine. We'll see what happens. Just saying, I can't get behind that. But I'm with you. Like, realistically, they didn't miss out on anybody. There's guys that maybe they could have moved up to get, but
yeah,
I don't think they like mishandled the draft or anything like that.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about like, hey,
yeah.
That would be the perfect fit for us. We had a chance. Our pick got traded. That's why I looked around the 25 to 30 area, and I was like, that's like obviously that was a guarantee. That's the only reason I put this question in, Nate. I wanted to talk about Julian Strawther.
I know.
That's the only reason.
Trust me. As soon as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, I was like, well, I know where we're going next.
All right. So, yes, that's an easy one. All right, let's go to the next one. Surprise East team. Anybody you have?
The East is tough because it's like, what do you mean by surprise? Because it's like,
hey, good or bad? I have one bad,
I know,
one
it could be good. It could be bad. I think the surprise possible bad team could be the Sixers. And I'm not sure it's not all that surprising with everything that's going on because it's just such a clown show over there right now. I actually don't think they will be. My surprise team I have listed is the Pacers. I try and stay who's going to be surprisingly good because surprisingly bad is not as fun in my opinion. And I think the Pacers quietly acquired a couple of really solid guys in Daniel Theis and Bruce Brown. They're not incredible. I think Bruce Brown obviously had a great run with the Nuggets in the playoffs. That being said, I don't think he's this all-world player or anything like that. At the same time, they have some really good talent in Tyrese Halliburton. Obviously got Buddy Hield. You got some good guys there, and having some solid players could make you competitive, get you in the top 6 of the East. And so I picked the Pacers. I don't know if I'm going to tune in to watch every night necessarily, but I think they could quietly rack up wins.
I think that they're going to be a decent team. They were good last year.
Yeah.
I think they can be a good again this year. My East team is going to be the Orlando Magic. Last year they were 34-48. I think they're a 40+ win team this year. 40+. Now, listen, that's probably a little too high. I think they're a playoff team. I think they're going to be in the top 8, and I think that they're going to win 40+ games.
First thing, to be clear, when I say surprise team, I do mean playoff team. So that's what I meant by the Pacers, like sneaking into the playoffs. I only have one problem with your pick. I wouldn't be surprised. That was actually the first team that I had in my mind, but I was like, okay. They got so much talent stacked up there and showed like they looked to me like a team that was getting close to that last year.
Yeah.
And so I think generally you're right. It would be surprising if the Magic showed up and were
it has to be surprising.
Winning team. I know, but I think we're just on the same wavelength. And I was like, I don't know. I think they're like primed to be a good team.
Yeah.
We'll see. They could suck, and I would also not be super surprised. So I guess that would be a surprise, but I love that pick. That was actually who I had, and I was like, I'm going to go Pacers because I feel like the Magic are going to be a trendy pick for that this year.
Well, I'm glad we didn't choose the same one. All right, you go again. I'm going to let you go because I have 2 that I can do in the West. I'm going to let you go first that way in case you steal my first one.
I'm going to go with the team I mentioned earlier. I'm going to go with Utah.
Okay.
I think Utah was surprisingly competitive last year, and I think people are going to sort of chalk that up as a bit of a flash in the pan season for them, and it's not going to happen again. And I think they're going to be better this year. And what I'm not saying is I think they are a contending threat this year. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is I could see them getting into a top 8, top 6 position to make it into the playoffs this year.
For the Jazz to be in the top 6 would be like incredible.
I'm just saying, don't be surprised. I think top 6, even I would be shocked. But top 8, I think they have a chance to be in that top 8. Home court play-in team.
When I say 0 chance, I really think that there is 0 chance. I don't think I don't think they're good. I think they're going to have to go the other way. Listen, I love that pick. I'm not saying I'm not saying I don't love it. I just am completely
That's the point, right?
it.
They could bail against it. They could bail out, decide they're going to go the opposite direction. But I think if they're going to do that, they would have done it last year. I think they're going to compete, and I think they make the play in, and I think they make the playoffs. I just think that Jazz team has some hidden talent in it.
I like it. Listen, all right, that's fire. I like it. All right, so my team is the Dallas Mavericks, but for the wrong reason. I think the Dallas Mavericks suck. They were 38-44 last year. I think their ceiling is 35 wins. I do not see them.
Oh, God.
In the play-in. I think they are.
Again, I don't disagree with your pick.
I think they're 11 or higher. And the reason is that's a situation that's ready to explode. You have a guy in Luka.
That's where I'm at.
My God, he's more than pissed. And Kyrie could not play a game for whatever reason. There's things going on in other countries where he just could decide that he's not going to play over those issues. We don't know where his head at, so I am going to stick with they're not going to be good this year.
Well, dog, when it comes to the Mavericks, you're not just counting on Kyrie to be there at all, right? Like that's number one. You need Kyrie to be there just in general. Number two, you need the Kyrie Luka thing to work. And I mean, I just saw zero evidence that was going to work last year. And like, they got to get buckets on buckets on buckets on buckets. And if you have even the slightest off night from either one of those guys, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
You're going to lose. And so I didn't think it worked last year. I don't see any reason why it would work this year.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, there's a chance Kyrie just decides not to play basketball for a month-long stretch for some reason. And at that point, you don't have anything left. Like, Luka's amazing.
He is amazing.
And if there's anybody in the league who could do it on their own, it would be Luka. But at the end of the day, you don't have the horses, man.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I picked him. I just think that the Mavs are going to suck. And as Chris says, like, Kyrie won't be there, next summer. Like, he's going to be gone. He wants to go be LeBron's sidekick. That's just what he wants to do. And so, see you later. I just think that they're going to be a train wreck, and I'm all for it. We're going to talk a little bit about them as we talk about the Southwest Division later. But before we get there, let's go ahead and get to our other ones. Let's get to the NBA Most Improved. We're going to go a little bit faster through these ones. These are awards that are surely not going to actually be a good prediction. There's zero chance that we predict these right. But go ahead with your NBA Most Improved.
Doesn't mean we won't put money on them.
True.
I put Christian Brown with the Nuggets. I think he gets a chance to step into a pretty much, honestly, tailor-made, like, super good role.
Okay.
Like, as far as optics go for the NBA, he is going to be an NBA nerds guy if he is good and get all the awesome publicity.
Okay.
And he steps into that Bruce Brown role, and we saw everyone drooled over Bruce Brown last year. So I think he has a chance to go from relative NBA unknown to you're hearing about him on ESPN, The Ringer, The Athletic every week. So I pick Christian Brown.
All right. I'm going to go homer pick. And I just think that this player there's just something about guys that when they take things serious, I think that they go all in. I think that they have a point to prove. And I think we've seen that. And I think we've only seen a glimpse. We're talking about guys that are put in conversations with him that have zero reasons to be in conversations about the type of player he is. And that's Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is going to ascend this year. The first 25 games are going to be a coming out party for him. I can see it now. I think that he's going to put up 28 points a game in the first 25 games. When Ja gets back, you're going to see the offense flow through Ja, but you're going to see a different type of offense than we've seen in the past. And I think it's going to revolve around pick and rolls with Jaren pick and rolls with Steve-O. And I think you're going to see a different style of offense this year, and one that's going to help out Desmond Bane. As long as he doesn't get hurt, I think this is a most improved award that should have been his. I think it was last 2 years ago, last year, whatever it was, when Ja won it. It should be an all-star selection for Desmond Bane.
Well, I was about to say, Daniel, you can't win the award twice. I don't know if you know, he has this trophy already sitting in his house.
Right.
On principle, I can't go with that pick. On principle, I have to hate that pick because someone as good as Desmond Bane should not be eligible for most improved. I know what you're going to say. Ja shouldn't have won it either. That shouldn't be the criteria. If you're as good as Desmond Bane, like, you're already awesome. I think it goes against the spirit of the award. I think the spirit of the award should be guys who were like borderline NBA players, like end of the bench guys, something like that. And all of a sudden they ascend into a really steady to above awesome role, right? You went from end of the bench, maybe low end role guy to something way better than that. So I don't like that. I'm not saying you're wrong at all because we've already seen it happen with Ja Morant.
Right.
But I think everything behind what you said, the argument for it, spot on. I think you're going to see some crazy stuff with Desmond Bane this year.
Yeah, I just think that he is set up to succeed. I think the award is all about outside chatter. I don't think it actually matters as much other than like almost a social media award in a sense, because when people kind of they start finding out more and more. I think people know about Desmond Bane, but we live here in Memphis. Not a ton of people know about Desmond Bane or think of him at the level that we think of.
Don't you know that Austin Reeves is better than Desmond Bane?
All right. So your NBA MVP, speaking of
Hold
Austin
up. You
Reeves,
saw that, right? You saw that, right?
I'm so over.
Floating
I'm
around
so
NBA Twitter.
over Jeremy Lin
I'm
2.0.
ready for the NBA season to be here so we can quit having these types of conversations
Like,
and talk
what are we
about
doing?
actual basketball.
What are we doing?
We're a week away.
Listen, Jeremy Lin 2.0. I love Austin Reeves. I loved him come out of Oklahoma. I love his game. He's good. He's not Desmond Bane. I'm sorry.
Listen,
I see it. He's not. Next
to be
question.
clear,
Go ahead.
No. I want to make one thing clear to all of our friends joining in. I agree with everything Daniel has said so far. It's the social media award. That's the point. It's all jokes here. It's all love. We love Austin Reeves. We like Austin Reeves. Maybe. But all the same, it's a social media award. That's why you think Desmond Bane will win it. That's why I think Christian Brown will win it. Now we can move to your next question.
Yep. NBA MVP.
Jokic.
Simple.
It's his award to lose.
Okay.
And honestly, I think that the voters not picking him and then him going off and just melting everyone in the playoffs, dude. Like, it's just got to be him. It's got to be him. Nah. I see our guy, Volcano. He changed his name to just Volcano.
Yeah,
he'll always be Volcano the Sweat to me.
Yeah, where's
but
the
let's
sweat?
go ahead. I'm gonna pull up his comment real quick. I can't let it be Luka because I think that team's gonna suck. If that team is anything other than terrible, Volcano the Sweat's about to win a lot of money because it will be all because of Luka Doncic. But I don't see a scenario where that team's good enough for Luka to be considered for MVP.
I agree. There's nothing else to say. I don't.
Yeah.
I like Luka. I think he's a really good player. I think he's done in Dallas. I really do. I think the worst thing you could do is put Kyrie next to him. I think that's the worst thing to do. It's like putting Dylan Brooks in Houston. It just doesn't make sense.
Wow.
All right. NBA MVP for me. I'm going to go with Damian Lillard. And listen, I love Damian Lillard. I think he is a very underrated player, and underrated in a way of I think he should be on the same level talked about as Steph Curry is. That level. He hasn't won. So you can't talk about him in that level because he hasn't won. This is going to be the best team, best player, best players he's ever played with. Like, the only thing that worries me about this is Giannis is Hashtag the freak, right? So he is the freak. So he is going to get a lot of the headlines. Do you like that? And because of that, I think that could take away from him. But if they are so good, you're going to see 30, 40, 50-point games because one of them will be open. And eventually you have to just stop people at the rim and they're just going to kick it out and he's just wide open again. So I'm going down.
I like Kenny Stubblefield for MVP because he agrees with me that you smell like stank cheese. And that's not just you physically, that's also your attitude, Daniel. So now I get to monologue for a minute. Daniel thinks this was a good idea. It wasn't. It was a mistake. Here's why I think Daniel Greer is an idiot. I am going to bring you back up for this. Actually, I don't know if I can. There we go.
What are you doing?
Now you're up alone. Dang it. I thought I was going to get you up here alone. But this will be interesting for me. Maybe we should put some kind of little bet on this. We'll do it on another show because I don't know how we play it out. I'm in the camp that was not as moved by the Dame trade as a lot of the NBA was.
Wow.
And listen, this is not me trying to take away from Dame and him being an awesome all-world NBA player. I thought they had an awesome player in Drew Holiday.
Not the same.
It's not the same. They're not the same player. That's why I could see you 100% being spot on. Because Dame is like this just dynamo, completely can flip a game like that offensive player. But the two-way impact of Drew Holiday is, I feel like all of a sudden got underrated until he got picked up by Boston. But Drew Holiday knocked down a lot of big shots for them. Well, here's why. If you don't have Giannis, then it's a completely different story. You do have Giannis.
Right.
And too many times they would go away from Giannis. Now you have another guy to go to, but I'm like, man, does the offensive production of Damian Lillard really move the needle that much when you have Giannis Antetokounmpo on your team?
Yes.
As opposed to the two-way impact? I don't know, man. We'll see. I would not be amazed. I would not be surprised if they were not better than they were last year. Being honest.
I'm not worried about. Listen, they won a championship with Drew Holiday. Okay.
I didn't say that. I said last year when they got knocked out.
I'm saying in general, they've won a championship with him. I don't want to take anything away from Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is a very, very good to great defensive player. He can knock down shots. He's way above average. He's so good. The thing is how much defense do you need with the likes when you have a Giannis, when you have a Brook Lopez on your team? How much defense do you actually need? And so when I say that is you trade away the defense to get the upside of the offense. And that's very simple to me. And that is, you've already heard the conversations. And just in their first game, Giannis said, that's the most open I've ever been. And that is just goes to saying that you're going to create space. You have three different players, and we're spending way too much on this. Three different players. You have Giannis, who is a freak. He's going to do everything. He's going to be the guy who's on the inside, right? But he can always go outside. He can drive, pick and rolls all day long. Chris Middleton, if he can stay healthy, he's the short jumper guy, knock down a three. Then you have the flamethrower himself way from the outside and Damian Lillard. I think all of those three complement each other so well. So I don't want to keep on going about that. That's really, I know we've talked about that way too much, and we're obviously way past where I want to be at this part of the show. So give me your champion real quick so we can go into some Grizzlies talk, if you don't mind.
I was about to turn this into not a family show. I'm thinking about still doing it.
Don't do it.
My mother-in-law listens. I better not. Who cares if Giannis is open? He doesn't shoot. Anyways, all right. Okay. I'm going to move on. Moving on.
He's in the paint, but keep going. NBA champion.
If he's open in the paint, then it's bad defense. Whatever. Anyways, Denver Nuggets. Like I just don't like. It's just really like it's gonna sound like a whatever answer, but dude, that team's awesome. And I'm somehow like hearing people talk about how Jokic and Murray are not in contention for the best duo in the NBA. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm listening to because I think you've not been paying attention to Jokic and Murray and the guys who just won the championship.
Volcano, the sweat. Volcano.
Sorry, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Says the Phoenix Suns. I could not disagree more. I do not like Phoenix. I think that they have too much of the same talent. I don't like them. Anyway, I love the Nuggets. I think they are the best team. The only issue is how much do they have left in the tank? I'm not saying that you need to have much in the tank if you're Jokic because you're incredible. I think they are 100% the best team in the league. I just don't know if the championship hangover from going that deep into the playoffs is really going to what it's going to do to you, both mentally but also physically. And that's the reason I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to go to the Bucks. I'm going to tag on to my MVP pick. And that's just because I think that this is the best duo in the league with Giannis and Dame. Listen, I don't say that just so easily. I just think that they are incredible talent. And I think that they have a chance to be really good in the regular season. But I also know that they don't have to play as hard. I think it comes that easy to them where they can kind of save themselves at times. As long as Dame stays healthy, I think this team is going to be something to watch. So that's all I have. Anything else you have on the NBA before we flip over to Grizzlies talk?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a bit of a top-heavy feeling kind of year, you know? Like, I feel like you're going to have teams like the Jazz and the Pacers, who I mentioned earlier, kind of sneak into the back end of the playoffs. But you're going to have teams like the Nuggets, the Bucks. And I do like the Bucks. Let me be clear. I think I'm looking forward to watching them this year. I'm not just saying all that stuff to be contrarian. I'm super excited to watch them as everybody else is. But you have them, the Celtics, Phoenix, Memphis, Lakers, possibly Sixers, unless it goes really the wrong way. I think it's going to be a top-heavy year in the NBA, and it's going to be fun. I think the West is always a little more competitive, but it'll be fun. But yeah, the Phoenix Suns are just like one scraped nail away from sucking. Like, they need all three of those guys, Booker, Durant, and Beal, to be playing and be good. So if one of them's off, I feel like it's tough.
Yeah,
I will say they did a better job of building that roster than I thought they would. So kudos to them. But
yeah, I think that they did a better job just by getting rid of some of the talent. I think that what's his name? Ayton did them very well. Very, very well. Somehow you just deleted me off the screen, but hey, whatever. Let's go to all the Grizzlies talk, and then we're going to preview the game one, which will be our first post game show, this is going to be our last summer show. So we're not going to be here next Tuesday. They play next Wednesday. So we're going to make sure that'll be our first game. We have a lot to unveil, some new look of us. Also, a giveaway that's going to be happening throughout the entire season. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Let's talk all Grizzlies right now. Top 7 Grizzlies players, 15-plus minutes. Let me give a caveat. Explain myself. So if you look at the Grizzlies when they make it to the playoffs, there's always 8 players that play 15 minutes a game. Okay, 8 players. There's usually a 9th that comes in. It's kind of the carryover guy. It's 8 to 9 minutes, maybe 6, unless it's like a big game, a closeout game where they might not even play. But usually there's 8, maybe 9 players, but only 8 play 15-plus minutes. So I'm going to give you the one. That's Ja Morant, right? He's not going to be here. So give me the other 7 players. Do you want to go ahead and agree on a consensus?
Yeah.
All right. So we have Ja, which is 1, taking him away. Bane.
Yep.
Jaren.
Yep.
Steve-O, Smart.
Yep.
Okay, let's give us 4. You want to go with somebody else? Luke?
Yep.
5. All right, we need 2 more.
So this was way tougher than I thought it would be because I think I got 2 pairs of guys, and I think they could take minutes from each other and make this tough. Who I ended up rolling with were Tillman and Santi. Those were the 2 I have. Here's the issue I had with that. You also, on the other hand, have Zaire and Roddy. With Zaire and Roddy and with Tillman and Santi, you got 2 guys each that play sort of the same type of role for this team. So if Zaire pops off, I think he hops into those top 7, right? But if he doesn't pop off, then him and Roddy, I think, could end up splitting minutes and almost taking those minutes away from each other. I could almost see the same thing happening with Tillman and Santi. But someone's got to fill in that extra big role. I lean towards Tillman, but Santi showed much talent. All this to say, I went with Tillman and Santi. I think this is tough because you have a lot of different talents on the Grizz that could take minutes away from each other. And then I had at 8, I had Derrick Rose. I think there's going to be too much guard play available. And I think he's sort of going to be, I don't think he's going to be an odd man out. I think he still gets minutes. I just think his minutes are going to be lower.
I don't think he gets any minutes during the playoffs. That's just the truth. I think he's a regular season player.
Maybe. I
think he is the backup. I think he is the guy that you lean on, use him definitely for the locker room. I just don't think he's not a playoff player. I just don't think.
Yeah, we're not talking about playoffs.
I'm just saying in general. That's what whole reason this kind of came to is because the guys that you're going to go to the playoffs, the top 7, whatever, 15 plus minutes. That's the reason I go with that. Because the regular season, you're going to get probably 8 guys. If not, sometimes maybe 9. Either way. All right, so let me give you mine. So we talked about the other guys. My other 2 is Santi. I think we both agree on him. So that's 6 of these 7 that we both agree on. You went with Tillman. I'm going to go with Zaire. And the reason I go with Zaire is because of the defense. And I don't think you need another backup big. I think with your backup big, he's the guy who gets the 8 or so minutes to overlap a little bit of Steve-O, give him a break, overlap a little bit of a defensive. I think he's the guy that might get those extra 8 minutes or so. But I still don't know if Tillman's long for this team. I love Tillman. I just don't know if he's here forever. I just don't know. He's got to get a new contract. I want to see it. Either way, I'm going to go with Zaire because he brings you that out. He's different than everybody else. Different. And that's why I chose him.
And I'm just going to tell you, we're going to go long on this show. It's happening. Sorry, we'll put a little caveat, like asterisk, this show went long on the description. But number 1, as far as Tillman goes, my view on him has sort of changed. And it's because, and it comes back, I know we all want Kenneth Lofton Jr. to succeed and to be a staple for this team. The number 1 reason I can't get behind it is because Tillman is just solid. That's it. Solid. He's not incredible. He's not amazing. He's not a standout player, but he is a great, just solid, reliable player that does everything you ask him to do all the time. And it's like, I can't take that guy out of the lineup. I just can't. I can't think of a good reason to take X out of the lineup. And that's sort of where I came to with minutes. But then you have Santi, who's shown all this upside. And so that's where I get torn. And I'm like, one of these is going to be right. So I'm keeping them both in the top 7. But it's just like, it is such a wealth of riches for the Grizzlies to have this problem. And if Zaire's the X factor. Zaire is what he looks like he is right now, then it's like, dude, it changes the game for this team. It's just crazy. Yeah.
Volcano said he's putting Zaire over Luke. Yikes.
I think, no, you might feel Zaire's impact more than Luke. Only because, and they were talking about this on, they were talking about this on Chris Vernon's show the other day. The gravity of Luke, I mean, it just opens up everything for everyone else. And that's why I think they go with the Bane-Luke lineup. You might say, hey, Luke's not getting any shots. It's not so he can get shots, right? He'll knock down a few shots here and there, but it creates so much space for all those other guys to work.
Yeah.
But before we move on,
the
last thing I want to hit on, 3 years ago, us talking about, man, how do you make minutes for Zaire and Santi Aldama? Did you ever imagine we would see this day? Like, what an insane place to be. Hey, I will hit on this. Matt's skate news. I'm not sure we've seen you in here before. Thanks for joining us, man. But Zaire is better on defense than Luke.
That's why I have
him. But what we talked about at the beginning of the show was that lineup: Smart, Bane, Kennard, Jaren, Steve-O. You've got 4 at least average, really plus players on defense in that lineup. You don't have to worry about the defense with Luke in. And the offensive firepower you're able to put out there when you have him on the floor with Bane, Jaren, Smart, and Steve-O is it's hard to pass up when you know you can cover up for Luke defensively. So that's where I come in with the minutes and why I think Luke still gets more minutes than Zaire. But I think that point's absolutely correct. Zaire is better defensively than Luke.
Yeah. So on the preview of the game, I want to talk about this. So obviously this show is going to be incredibly long. But what I want to talk about is looking at who's first out and who's first in. Okay. I think that's very important because of the simple fact that you have last year, it was Jaren playing the first 4 and the last 4 of almost every quarter. And that's kind of what he was kind of doing is he was going out. He was coming back in short spurts, right? And a lot of that was because we want to make sure that I guess he doesn't get too, I don't know. We don't want to get him too, I guess, tired to where he starts fouling. Okay. So whatever. But I think that this year, that person might actually be Bane. And the reason is because you get some short, stints of Bane, but you can also run them off of Luke. You can play him alongside of Luke. I think that you can play him with everybody. I think you can play Bane with any lineup. I don't know if you can play that with Jaren. I think they had to be more strategic with Jaren. And so we'll see. But I just think that it could be Luke off the bench. Luke comes in for Bane, and then you swap. So you're pretty much not losing too much of the integrity of the offense. And then Bane's back in. You have you end the first quarter with a pairing of Derrick Rose, Bane, and Luke. Man, I think that helps. Anyway, all right. So let's go ahead and go to the next thing. So you want to go ahead? We're good passing off here. We're good.
Yeah, I do want to bring up a couple of comments here. Number one,
God,
Matt joining us from Japan, man. How do you not shout the guy out joining us from Japan? Matt, thank you so much for hopping in here. That's a long, long ways away. I'm not sure we've had anyone from Japan hop in the comments, so thank you for joining us. And then I do want to bring up Kenny, who, number one, has one of the best profile pictures I've ever seen.
Who's this Kenny guy anyway?
Sorry, Kenneth. You know him as Kenneth, I believe. But he asked, we know what Luke does to opponents when he's out there. How does Zaire add stress there? I'll take this one because I'm a huge fan of the mid-range maestros. I was a big fan of Dylan Brooks coming back and adding a third level to the Grizzlies offense. Obviously, that did not necessarily pan out how he hoped it would. But Zaire jumping in and being able to add a mid-range, I think is awesome. He adds true three-level scoring, whereas Luke is pretty much a spot-up shooter, although we have seen Luke create in the mid-range a little bit. But Zaire is that true three-level scorer, and the mid-range, I think, does still matter in this game. So, and yes, Kenny, Daniel is a bum. All right, now we can move on.
He was speaking about himself. All right, so I just had a thought that just kind of came back to me. And so I'm changing what I said earlier in the show. Okay, and I know that doesn't surprise anyone.
Oh my God.
Okay, and we're going to answer Volcano.
We're getting back into form.
Volcano,
back
the
into
sweat.
form.
We're going to answer your question right now. The small forward for this team is Zaire. Game 1, he will start. And let me tell you why, Nate. I saw with my own 2 pretty little eyes. I think that's really the best thing that is about me, honestly, is my eyeballs. I feel like they stayed true ever since I was a little tyke. And so I will say the reason is because Zaire Williams, I saw him guard Brandon Ingram one-on-one, and he shut him down. And so because of that, I think that has to come back the way Zaire's playing and the way he can play defense to answer all of your questions about adding Zaire to help add the help of defense, because he is that good. Zaire might be the best defender outside of Jaren and Marcus Smart. Why you went back to yourself? Do you not know the buttons to push? Who gave you these controls? Anyway, so because of that, I think somebody has to guard Brandon Ingram. And because of that, I really do think that could be Zaire. You want to start him off there. And so that's what I'm thinking. Game 26. Yeah, unfortunately, that's
it's Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
It's Marcus Smart.
It doesn't really matter.
Let's make a bet. Let's make a central barbecue bet on who's the starting small forward game 1 for the Memphis Grizzlies. You want to do that?
Yeah.
All right. I think that Luke Kennard Or I guess technically he might be the 2, 3. Either way, next to Desmond Bain.
He's the
Luke
fifth guy.
Kennard is the starting guy for the Grizzlies on opening night.
All right. I like it. All right, let's go ahead and go through these.
All right.
We'll be able to hear some more, guys. If you have any other questions, by all means, listen, let's take this as long as you want. My wife's already mad at me because I can't move the kids from the bed to their bed because they fell asleep in my bed. So anyway, at this point, I'm just digging my own grave. Grizzlies most improved. Grizzlies most improved.
Dude, I don't think there's any kind of question on that. It's Zaire.
I think Zaire's right too.
Unless this preseason is just like the biggest strip tease in the history of strip teases, like pony level strip teases, it's got to be Zaire Williams.
Yeah.
Number 2, David Roddy, because of course David Roddy's amazing. Yeah,
so I'm going Matt. We're putting all of our money on Zaire. He's going to start. And unfortunately for not everybody here is in Central Time Zone. Some people are up early in the morning, so little screwdriver heading your way, Matt. So my thinking is same thing. Zaire has to be the guy. And so I don't think we need to spend too much more time on that.
Damn,
I think
you didn't even go with your own NBA most improved was Desmond Bain.
I think on the team though, the level of ascension from being unplayable to possibly starting, that has to take the cake.
I do think, just on Kenny's comment real quick, I think Santi Santi still has levels he can reach. I think we saw on FIBA Santi be able to take a bit of a jump there as well. I just think when it comes to most improved, again, I think the spirit of most improved is a guy who went from like end of the bench, almost nothing, maybe low end role guy to awesome. And I think Zaire has a chance to go from, literally not playing for this team last year to huge contributor. And so I think the jump is going to be bigger from Zaire, even though the impact of those guys as a total might be the same.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, Santi might be my favorite player that isn't in the starting rotation. And I love Luke. I'm a Dookie through and through. I won't trade him in my fantasy league. I even had Jalen Johnson from the Hawks. Will not trade him. Parker, quit asking me.
You are a Dookie.
So I am a Dookie through and through. All right, most improved. Let's go to the MVP. There's going to be all the awards that we're going to talk about because I think the defensive player, all that stuff like that. Man, there's so much that can come into that. Who's your MVP for this team this year?
I want you to go first because I might be contrarian.
All right, I'm going to go with Ja Morant.
All right. Okay. I actually did not expect that whatsoever. I didn't even think about actually saying Ja Morant. Dang. I'm going to go with Desmond Bain. I'm with you on everything you said earlier, even though I disagree with the spirit of him being most improved. I think he is going to have a freaky year. Like the kind of year that you're like, oh, is this guy this guy? Like, I think you're going to have that year from Desmond Bain. So, that being said, I think Ja Morant comes back with the fire in his eyes, a la Daniel.
Let me give you a little analogy. Have you ever had a Christmas? Everybody's had that, right? And you're opening up presents and you're just feeling so bubbly inside. You're feeling great, right? It's Christmas. And then all of a sudden, you've unwrapped the last present. And you're like, God, man, that felt good. I'm feeling good. I'm going to go play my presents. And what happens? Mom or dad comes out of the back with your Xbox that you did not know you were getting. And boom, you might have just went all over yourself. And you're the most excited you've ever been in your life. And game 26 to game 82, you're getting an Xbox every effing day. That's your Ja Morant. That's why he is the MVP of this team. He will absolutely show everybody why he is that dude. I can't say anything else.
I got to say, you have an uncanny talent to piece together stories that are absolute nonsense and somehow bring them full circle at the end and make it sound like an awesome story. It is a true talent. Like, it's almost like Billy Madison level storytelling.
Well, let me just tell you that every story has some truth behind it because that happened to me as a little boy. I got the Xbox that I always wanted. Shout out to Brenda. All right, let's go. Let's keep rolling here. What else do we have to hit on? Let me check my notes. I'm trying to watch the Liberty game. All right, I have a lot of money on this game. Southwest standings. That's where we're going.
Yep.
Give me your Southwest standings 1 through 5. You have the Pelicans, Rockets, Spurs, Mavericks, Grizzlies.
I've got Grizzlies number 1. I don't think that's homery at all. I think they have the best team out of those. I got Pelicans at 2. I think they have the second best team. I don't think that's crazy. I still have the Mavericks at 3, even though we've already talked about that could go way, way south. And then I'm going to go. This is more of like an emotional thing than a mental thing. I got to go Spurs and Houston. I just can't live in a world where the Rockets finish better than the Spurs with the current rosters that they have. I think Houston has a better roster, honestly, but I think the Spurs somehow end up finishing better. Popovich doesn't lose.
Well, all right. Man, all right. So, listen, the Xbox 360, like, listen, that when Oliver, yes, that's when I felt like I was doing things.
Come on, Daniel, stay on track.
Southwest standings. I'm going to go with the Grizzlies finish first. I think that's easy. Number 2 is the same as yours. I'm going to go with the Pelicans. I think the Pelicans with Zion have the best chance to be really good. They've been just completely bitten right now by having so many injuries, so much
Mariah Mills.
Man, she must be a biter. So I'm thinking that they're going to overcome that. I don't know why they wouldn't. But that's why I have the most, thoughts on them. As long as they don't go to Dallas, who isn't next. 3 for me, the Houston Rockets. That's my surprise team out of the West this year. I think they're going to be a play-in team. I really do. I think that they're going to surprise some people because they have the ability to type on their laptop and shake their camera at the same time. And so I really do think that the Rockets are going to be very good. And so big fan. I don't think that they're going to be a team that you're scared of, but I just think that they're going to be a team that scores, and they're going to score, and they're going to catch some people off guard. And the Houston nightlife can kind of catch people off guard. Next is Mavericks. As I've said earlier, I think they're a 35-win team with a ceiling of 35. And I think the last one's the Spurs. I think the Spurs are going to be really good. I think they're going to win 28 games. I really do. So we'll see.
Really good.
Really
I think
good.
it'd be really good winning 28 games.
Yep.
I'm just surprised you're giving Dylan Brooks enough credit to put him as 3rd in the Southwest Division. That's what surprises me most.
I just think that they're going to be so much better than these other teams. So
Daniel Greer, big Dylan Brooks guy.
That's not true. All right, let's go to the next one. What is the next one I have written down here? The Grizzlies record for the season.
I mean, first off, I would hammer the over. They're at DraftKings is 45.5 right now.
45.5, yep.
Hammer the over. I put them at 51 and 31. Maybe it is us being a little bit spoiled from the past couple of seasons, but it's just hard for me to imagine this team losing more than 30 games. And I gave myself a little bit of a buffer on that. So I went 51 and 31. I still think they're a 50-win team. I think that the anticipated drop-off in the absence of Ja Morant is very exaggerated. I'm honestly not sure where it came from with all the talk about the Grizzlies being better without Ja over the past couple of years, right? But then you bring in Marcus Smart, Derrick Rose. I think people really underestimate what Derrick Rose has left in the tank, probably us included. And then you have the ascension of Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson. Luke Kennard has a full season to be integrated into this offense. Plus, you got guys stepping up like Zaire, David Roddy, Santi Aldama. I think the Grizzlies will blow their total out of the water.
Really? I like it. 45.5 is that number. You just said it. I'm going to go with 50 and 32. Same reasons that you have. I just think they're going to be a 50-win team. I think they're that good. I think 50 is a good number. You want to get to that point, right? And eventually, sometimes you have some games to play with. I think they take some rest. But in all, I think that gets you a top 6 team, top 6 seed in the West. They're going to be good again. I just don't think that this team is as bad as some people think in some areas. And I think because we're so deep, we can make up for issues like this. I think the talent is deeper on this team than others. That's how you can make up for regular season wins. Playoff wins are completely different. That's why you get Marcus Smart. All right, that's all I have on that one. So Grizzlies finishing position in this year.
I want you to go first on this one.
I'm going to go with 4th.
Okay. Who do you have in front of them? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so Nuggets, I think the Suns are going to be good regular season team. I just think that they're going to want to be good. If I had to do one more, I haven't thought too much about it. I don't think it's the Warriors. I don't think it's the Lakers. Who else is there that would be over them?
I've got to let you finish the thought because I think we have a pretty good similar idea of it. I want to see how close we are on this.
Yeah, so Denver, Phoenix, man, there's nobody else I want to put there. Let's go with the Lakers.
All right.
Oh, you know what? Sorry, Sacramento. I totally forgot about Sacramento. I think they're going to be a good regular season team. Let's go Sac 3.
So I've got the Grizzlies 3rd. And I've got Nuggets, who I think are just the best team until they're not. I've got Phoenix, who I'm just like you. I think they will rack up regular season wins. They will be flying up and down the court, and they'll just outscore teams.
Yeah.
Then I got the Grizz. Then I have Sacramento.
Really?
I was
okay.
borderline putting them 4. That's exactly who I've written down. Sacramento is right there. Purely because of the regular season stuff. And I think Sacramento is better than us as Grizz fans want to give them credit for. I think there's a little bit of the bitterness of, hey, when we were the up-and-coming team, we were the fun thing. Everybody liked us, and then we were good, and everyone hated us. And so we kind of hate that people like the Kings now. The Kings were a good team, man. It was kind of fun. I'm just going to be honest. Like, it's a fun team. I think that the Aaron Fox versus Ja stuff is silly, just like the SGA versus Ja stuff is silly. But the Kings were a legitimately good team, and I think they're going to be a good team for a minute, as long as they have that core. As far as the Thunder go, as our good friend Kenneth Stubblefield decided to put up here, I'll believe the Thunder stuff when I see it. They have been a super fun team with an amazing player, but they are yet to not suck. So, don't suck. And then I think they have a lot of good players and could not suck. But it's like the Nuggets. The Nuggets are awesome until they're not awesome. In my mind, the Thunder suck until they don't suck. Simple as that.
The only thing that scares me about the regular season in general is because of the Lakers last year. The Lakers were not good, but they did enough to be good enough to be in that right position to get into the playoffs, right? And at that point, all you want to do is get in because it's really home court advantage. If you win game 1, you've won home court advantage. You can be the best player. And so that's my thinking is you're going to have some teams honestly just say, you know what? We don't have to have the best regular season record. We just need to get into the playoffs. And then as long as we're healthy, we'll set ourselves up perfectly. It's going to bite some teams in the butt this year because I think they're going to try to do what the Lakers did a little bit. And the Lakers didn't try to do that. They just had injuries, had issues. But I also think that some teams will kind of take it easy. And so that's why I think teams like the Thunder can be a top 6 team is because they're going to be young and they can honestly, they can try harder. And really, it's all about trying harder in the regular season.
Yeah, but also being good.
I agree. I don't think they're bad.
I think they could be a top 6 team. I would be very surprised if they were a top 3, top 4 team.
No, I agree. All right, let's get into a little bit what we have. Just remember, our first post-game show will be on 10/25, and that will be the game that we preview right now, and that'll be the Grizzlies versus the Pelicans. It will be next Wednesday, so we will not have another show on Tuesday. I'm not doing that to ourselves. We were doing the preview now, but the first game 1 of 82 games, will be your number 1 Grizzlies post-game show each and every night. As soon as the game ends, just probably count to like 62 because that's how long the intro is, I believe. And we'll be coming on live for you here on YouTube. So make sure you join us each and every game. Grizzlies versus Pelicans. What in the world do you want to hit on? And I don't want to go on this long. Let's keep this 10 minutes or less. Anything you want to hit on before what you're thinking about how this game can play out?
No, I would rather go way less than 10 minutes, actually, because it's the first game of the season. I just want to be excited for it. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it could be an amazing Grizz win their first game of the season. Or Marcus Smart hasn't played yet for the Grizzlies, and they're still trying to figure it out, and it's everyone overreacts to the first game of the season loss. I'm going to, of course, go Grizz win to start out the season because I'm a homer. But, yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, man. I think you see a crazy engaged Desmond Bane. I think you see a freako Jaren Jackson, and I think both those things last a full season, by the way. Outside of that, I mean, the Pelicans got players, man. They got Trey Murphy. They've got Zion Williamson. Wait, Trey Murphy's still out? Is he still hurt?
He is hurt.
Okay.
Well, listen, he's not on the injury report, which I was shocked of, but I believe that he's still out.
Well, and you still got CJ McCollum. The hope is that Brandon Ingram plays about the way he played in FIBA. That would be great. But I guess they're probably saying the same thing about Jaren, so I might eat that comment. But I'm just looking forward to it, man. A week and 1 day from today, we will be talking about a regular season Grizzlies basketball game. So I'm just excited, man. It's fun. The season's here.
Yeah, so obviously there's been some injury concerns within the Pelicans camp. So you have Najee Marshall, who is actually out, I believe. I don't think he will be playing. I think he's been officially ruled out. Herb Jones has had a neck back issue, and so I'm not sure exactly what that means. But anything neck back just screams a couple weeks. I don't think there's any chance that he plays game one. I don't know why you would with a neck and back issue. He is young, but I just don't see why you would take that chance. The other one is the Trey Murphy one. I don't know enough about what's going on with him. I believe he is still out. He hasn't played at all. And so I don't know. It says Trey Murphy is out 3 months.
Oof.
All right. So listen, I thought he was officially ruled out. I'm not sure, but I believe that Trey Murphy will not be playing. I just think that the Grizzlies have the better team. I just think they are going to be just jacked up first game. And I think that they're going to come out with the honestly, the form just rocking as well. I just think that the grindhouse will be the biggest factor in this game, because when you have these young guys and they start rocking out, I just think that they're going to play well. And I just believe that as long as Steve-O is injury free, which I believe he is, that obviously nullifies the matchup with JV. And I just think he owns JV. If you're looking for any betting stuff, please take the unders on JV, the game one versus Steve-O. Steve-O absolutely owns JV. He's owned him his entire career. Even when JV was here, he's always owned him. And so I'm going to go ahead and do all unders in the first game for sure. So that's just my opinion on that. All right. Anything else you have on this game? I think the matchups are there. I think everything is there. We won't know much about Marcus Smart until Friday night when he actually plays. So we don't want to take too much more time on that. But I do think that this is a matchup I do want to break down. We'll have many more times to break it down throughout the season.
Nah, man. That's it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to have actual basketball.
All right. We do have our announcement giveaway. Make sure you tune into the first post-game show. We will be back here on the 25th. You don't want to miss it. We'll have a new look. New look. So make sure you tune in. We'll be here each and every post-game after the game. Make sure you push the button. And the most thing you can do is, one, get this off my screen. Thank you. Thanks, Nate. Thanks for pushing that button. All right, that's all we got. Be nice and tell your friends.